Pharmacist in London. His entrepreneurial teeth was caught in the pharma industry, working with Lewis PLC, one of the fastest growing retail pharmacy chains in Europe, where he rose from the position of an intern to become a manager. He won several awards meeting set targets on National Health Services of England set services for the community pharmacy industry. He was part of the Pioneer Strategic Forum of the Lewis Group in London in 2011 that shaped the growth that massively transformed their spread in the UK markets, leading to the acquisition of parts of major businesses like Boots and Lloyds. He resigned his position in the UK in 2003 and came back to set up Masscare Pharmaceuticals in Nigeria. Despite the market saturation, Masscare retail brand has become a household name in the health, household, and beauty markets, with their strong brands like Tulip Body Care and Pharmatrap coming under the Masscare family. Famchika is a philanthropist and a person with interest in politics. He prefers not to be called a politician, but he perceives politics not as a career, but as a platform for societal advancements. He is a champion of youth and founder of NUGAP, an acronym for Nsuka Unemployed Graduate Assistance Projects. A platform to create job opportunities for job seekers and groom budding entrepreneurs in his community. His wealth of local and international experience in the private sector, the public sector, and grassroots engagement has imbued in him with a comprehensive set of skills that has formed a firm foundation for leadership across diverse spheres of life. Having honed his abilities in managing people and schedules, developing strategies and procedures, and completing set projects, he is a committed Christian and a family enthusiast. Married to Dr. Mrs. Obianuju Umoru and blessed with 3 children. Honorable Pharmacist Umoru dreams of a Nigeria of the future, where the desire to make life better for all will shape the actions of every citizen. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I start by recognizing Dr. Umoru, Barde, a very recent friend of mine, and an inspiring figure, not just in the pharmacy profession, but in the political landscape of Nigeria. I would like you to extend my regards to other members of the High Tech. I want to recognize the coordinator, the local coordinator of the Young Pharmacist Group, and the members of the executive. I would also like to recognize and appreciate the effort of the chairman of the organizing committee and his members. I would like to welcome everybody, colleagues, young pharmacists here, guests, everybody. I want to welcome all of you in the name of God, whom all of us serve. I realize that we haven't had an opening prayer yet, but I welcome you in the name of God. It is indeed an exciting opportunity for me to be here today speaking to the holders of the keys to the future of pharmacy. I have to make every sacrifice to be here today because as a pharmacist, I am very keen to contribute to shaping the future of pharmacy, and in doing that, my only contribution would be to see how positively we can impact on you guys, vibrant, and handsome, and beautiful, young-looking holders of our profession. So I want to generally thank you for putting up this event today. Also, I want to even thank you for the theme that you chose for this program. We couldn't have chosen anything better. 2 years ago, I was a keynote speaker at the oath-taking / induction ceremony of pharmacists at the University of Nigeria. And the theme you chose for today's event was quite similar. It's quite similar to the theme of that event. And what I tried to do there to the pharmacy students was to show them what the universities may not have taught them. And that is the reality of our time. That in the 4 walls of our universities, there was a major focus on academics. But once you get liberated from those 4 walls, what you will discover is a society that is fast changing in all aspects that you can think of. And pharmacy is not left out in that world. And what we need our young pharmacists to realize is that we have to open our arms to embrace the emerging opportunities that impact our profession. Of course, pharmacy has a history that speaks of rapid evolution, but never at the sequence of our history has there been such a rapid evolution as it is now, mostly driven by technology. And I guess the reason why we are here today is to look at those opportunities that are emerging in the world and how we, as pharmacists, can embrace them. So it is indeed my pleasure to be chosen as the chairman of today's occasion. And I am urging everybody who is here today to please pay in-depth attention. I've looked at the caliber of speakers here today, and I can assure you that none of us will walk out of this hall today without grasping something very meaningful which we need to apply to our everyday practice in order to make both ourselves and the profession of pharmacy better prepared for the future that awaits us. It is a day of learning and sharing of ideas. It is a day of networking, which is very important for young pharmacists. It is a day for seeking out new opportunities for employment, for startups. It is a day that is full of impact, if only we know what we are here today for. So I urge you to pay serious attention. I saw in the address of one of you where we talked about the opportunities and areas where pharmacists need to pay attention to. I wouldn't leave this stage without saying that politics, are you all listening to me? In one area where pharmacists have always shied away from, and it is hurting us badly. I am very happy that Dr. Umoru is here. He is somebody that is seated in a position where a lot can be influenced for pharmacy. I'm also happy that as of today, I am also sitting in a position where in the state where I serve, we have done a lot to positively impact the pharmacy practice down there in the southeast. I am happy that I have about 4 colleagues who are involved in government in the southeast region. The Commissioner for Health in Imo State is a pharmacist, Professor Barde. Some of you might know him. The Senior Special Advisor to the Governor of Anambra State, a lady, is also a pharmacist. And I understand that there's another pharmacist in other states. So, across the breadth and length of Nigeria, we need to occupy this position, because that is one of the major ways through which we can impact under the current emerging threats and geopolitics positively on our profession. So even though you didn't write it down here, I want all of you to know that you are more than evidently qualified to get involved in the political space. I wish each and every one of us here today a very worthy and fruitful deliberation. And I hope that as we all have made sacrifices to be here today, we'll all be rewarded with the abundant knowledge we go from it. Thank you very much for coming.
You can see how he specified. He said, pharmacists not being involved directly in politics within our nation is hurting us badly. We can see a whole lot of policy issues, we can see a whole lot of political issues too that's affecting us negatively. Not to go too far, I think 2 weeks ago or so, the consultant cadre in Lagos to see the issues the PSN is having with enemy. And these are issues that if we have our people up there within the government, we shouldn't be battling petty things like paying pharmacists what they are supposed to be paid. So it is a clear call for each and every one of us. Please get involved, advocate, and speak. Thank you so much, sir. We are very grateful. So moving to the next on our list, and to do that, I'll be calling on Pharmacist to read the biography of Keynote address.
Good morning once again. Please permit me to invite Pharmacist Dr. Umoru Barde to the stage. Pharmacist Dr. Umoru Barde, MPSN, MPA, BPharm, MPA, MPhil, PhD. Pharmacist Dr. Umoru is a public servant, technocrat, and pharmaceutical policy specialist with over 3 decades of public service experience. He holds a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, 1990. He also has a certificate in health economics from the World Bank Institute in Washington, D.C. He has a master's in public administration, an MPhil, and PhD in public administration. He attended executive certification programs at the World Bank Institute, Harvard University, USA, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, Oxford University, UK, and University of Westminster, among others. He has trained locally and internationally in core aspects of his career, as well as general management, leadership, and strategy. He is currently the Permanent Secretary, Research and Information Directorate of the National Assembly. He superintends over the following departments: Department of Research, Department of Information, Department of Statistics, Department of Printing and Publication, Department of Library Services. Before his elevation to the post of Secretary, he was the Director of Pharmaceutical Services, and his schedule entailed providing pharmaceutical services to members and staff of the Parliament and technical assistance to various Parliament committees on pharmaceutical policy. His research interests include leadership and organizational management, pharmaceutical policy, and politics. He has published numerous papers and delivered lectures locally and internationally that address the issues, medicine policy and quality, among others. He is a fellow of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, MPSN, and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria, CIPAN. He is happily married with children. Please, I would also like to mention that one of his sons is here.
Please, a round of applause for him, please. Before I hand over the mic to our very distinguished keynote speaker, I would also love this opportunity to mention that he's a very, very kind and dear father to all young pharmacists and even pharmacists generally. And also, to add to that, I would also love to mention that pharmacy doctor Ali Umoru is the first health professional to have risen to the position of secretary of Directorate of Research and Statistics.
My chairman of the commission, very generous fellow, who met in the last investigation, as is dead, he has stuck into my heart as a collaborator for the past 20 years. I first noticed him on the television program when he was articulating the youth empowerment and the labor issues for our community state. One of these people was of course, there's always a difference. He was articulating the difference, that's pharmacists for me. Practitioners in politics, that's where the difference is. You have professional politicians, those are the same. He has a show, he has a first job before he enters into politics. So there are people called practitioners in politics. The chairman, you're welcome. Let me recognize my colleague here. When you read the section, that is a good department. Actually, I superintendent over 7 departments and 5. And one of my directors is here. Director of Hackers and Ministry of National Assembly. YPG.
Yes, sir.
I have delivered keynote addresses. Those have been seen in my citation. I have delivered lectures, local and international. But each time I'm asked to go and speak to you, I feel highly elevated. Because that's the most important. Because you are the future of the profession. You are the future of the country. You are the leaders of today. And from what I've observed with the dynamics that are going today, the greatest problem lies at the entry point and at the point of entry for our professionals. The most difficult period in life like that, particularly when you are trying to enter into the world, enter into the profession, enter into other things. Then, another difficult part is where some of us are reaching, where you are tired, where you are exit. These are the two difficult parts in any profession. And in Nigeria generally today, the entry and the point of exit. But the entry is more important because the world is at your feet. How you go about it, how lucky you are, how privileged you are to be in the right place at the right time. That's what matters. And that's why this topic is very, very apt. Pharmacy without this. I wanted to call it to pharmacy beyond limits because okay, you know, without, for some of what I want to do in business, without is a very difficult work. I'm sure when you buy food, in those days, you can say that you buy food at the restaurant and you are not eating meat. Unfortunately, what you are paying is different from where they are serving the food. So the lady at the plate will be now shouting. That's why I'm going there without you. And the whole can see that the lady are eating without meat. So there was this friend of mine, and after I stayed, the lady now says in Hausa, that one with white kaftan is without you. And everybody looked at him, this guy is sitting without. He said this, when he collected this soup, came with the soup and poured on the lady. He said, was that enough for the whole world and I'm eating that? So that's why I was a bit skeptical of the whole without, but I said, okay. As a keynote speaker, I could change the topic or modify the topic. But I said, let me remain simple. Beyond limits and without. They are not too difficult. So my presentation. Sorry, let me just adjust my glasses. So I'm not seeing the slides from here. I'm looking back, so I hope the IT person. So my topic again is pharmacy without limits, embracing emerging opportunities. My name was Willis. And by the special grace of God, and the permanent secretary. Secretaries in National Assembly are what we call permanent secretaries in the Federal Civil Service. But within the National Assembly bureaucracy, we are referred to as secretaries. The Directorate of Research and Information, National Assembly. My introduction actually is very brief. I don't know my life before. Let me read it. Pharmacy today is a flourishing profession. The most positively instructive manner from its national traditional strength. And those that are prepared to innovate, explore within and beyond the pharmacy space, will shape the future of health service delivery. Just like my chairman. He might be commissioner for labor, but his impact is shaping the delivery. Of course, there are no matters about pharmacy that will not have his impact physically. He may not be in charge of health. He has police, but he's in a position of influence. Though one of the most regulated professions in the world, pharmacy provides a robust, limitless platform for innovation, leadership, and global impact. What do I say? Apart from the aviation industry, there is no industry that's as regulated as pharmacy. Am I with you? Yes. Every year you must renew your license, right? Your premises when you practice will be registered every year. After every 5 years, you must do some continuing education program. There's no promotion apart from the aviation industry. But it's only pilots that we don't do health check. You don't do health check, you know if you are health to practice or not. That's not true. The pilots, every I don't know if it's yearly, as regular bodies, you must do health check to make sure you are healthy to fly. So that's why, apart from the aviation industry, the most regulated industry in the world is the pharmaceutical industry. And that's why it calls for high ethical standards. So what is pharmacy and what is pharmacy? We all know. I don't need to deliver that from the word pharmacy, meaning medicine in trade. But for pharmacists, we are experts as far as everything medicine is concerned. These days we prefer the word medicine instead of drugs so that it's not mixed up. In fact, the next the Director of Food and Drugs was telling me that the next national drug policy coming out will now be referred to as medicine policy. That is the international standard. So that it is between drug and abuse. When you say drug, people think of actions. So pharmacy in Nigeria, what is the fact find? We have about 21,892 registered pharmacists. Only 12,000 are active practice. And I learned a global system, 3,000 are Japan. So it's down to the population now. This fact is not very accurate, but that was the latest I got from PCL. We have about one pharmacist to 1,000 in our population. And the population will take one pharmacist to 200. That shows the gap. The community pharmacists are the first point of first contact. The majority of our pharmacists practice in community pharmacy. Of course, around 60% work in the community pharmacy. And that unevenly distributed. You have more in the urban areas than in the rural areas. There are about 165 registered pharmaceutical companies in Nigeria today. Unfortunately, we produce less than about 30% of our pharmaceutical needs, 70% imported. That's the gap. The biggest opportunity to come in. Presently, we have about 24 pharmacies. That was about last year. I don't know if they are created now. Now, our profession is, like I tell what I'm telling you, not because I'm a pharmacist. You are not. Pharmacy remains the best profession in this country. I think we have a pass for yourself. Unemployment and doing what you don't really like. So when police come for counseling about their children, I say, well, it's not because I'm a pharmacist who better go after the pharmacy, not forget that I'm another graduate. So, and this is what elders, philosophers, great men have said about our profession. Ironically, the book is very serious. Well, in 1954, So France is very level. I'm sure I'm working like that to this level. In 1954, Pope Pius VII said this about their profession. The duty and likewise, the special glory of pharmacists is to have the mastery of their science and to take not one hair's breadth from the straight path of conscience. For how disastrous and fatal could be the result, it should not even the slightest error in filling the prescription, in deciding proper proportion, or judging the time elements of the effect. That's good. Pius VII, 1954. The pharmacists are an indispensable link in the chain of national health protection. If we do not have the pharmacists, it would have been necessary to invent one. That's from John F. Kennedy. One of America's most admired presidents. Then, of course, one that I like so much, when I was a student. Without drugs, the health system has no substance and no capability. Best diagnosis, best laboratory investigation, what the patient wants is to heal. And 98% of the patient promises, it's recorded scientifically. 1990 of the patient that come to the hospital must get drugs to get healed. So whatever your diagnosis, whatever your test result, no drugs, no medicine, they are not doing anything. They are not doing anything. So pharmacists of today, the opportunities are limited. Of course, the objective of our modern educational program is to prepare young pharmacists, right? To meet the expanding professional responsibilities. Today's pharmacy students are rigorously selected from highly qualified candidates with strong backgrounds in sciences. They are not always strong pharmacists, and that's the beauty of it. About 2 weeks ago, I was promoted with an issue in national television. What I said, the professional we have to stand for. There's a young woman in the church here, religious. There's a young lady, and she says she has a degree in pharmacology, philosophy, BSc. I don't know where faculty offer that in job. She has a degree, BSc in pharmacology, philosophy, about 3 different something from that of jobs. And because she has a very high level position, they might employ her as a pharmacist. So my success of the director of pharmacy, and that's why being at the level of Umoru matters. Because I have done there. She called me in the night. She said, okay, there's a problem. A non-pharmacy has been employed as a pharmacy. I said, where? And the person seems to have higher level of patient information. I said, forget about that one. It's not possible. If you are not a pharmacist, you are not a pharmacist. What is the qualification? He said, I asked him in job. He said, there's one center that offers that one certificate, which is unfortunate. I said, don't allow her to resume. He said, the lady came and said it's from one pharmacy. Nonsense. Professional guy. The Pharmacist Act 2022. Now, that's what we are not the pharmacist, I'm the pharmacist. So I picked up the case at the highest level. Can come to be documented. Let her go back. If you recognize that she can go and look for any research to work. But as it is, if you are not a pharmacist, you are not a pharmacist. What am I gathering out? That's why when the chairman said people have to be in politics, you have to have position of influence. Then when this thing will have taken another 1 year, she will have to write letter, apply to the commission, this one is not qualified. But because I'm up there, I went to the highest authority and the problem was resolved. So that's the problem, question of influence and we're talking about it. So back to our slide. The graduate pharmacy is faced with excellent career opportunities to build opportunities to practice in a variety of settings: hospital, community, industry, government, that's public service. And I was technical adding politics. I wanted to subsume the other public service. But the chairman said that politics should be there. So politics also. Administration, the academia, and scientific research institutes. Thus, the pharmacy of today must be strengthened in terms of its social and ethical behavioral activities or qualities to meet the standard of emerging opportunities as encapsulated in the International Pharmaceutical Federation 9-star pharmacy. I'm sure you're all aware of 9-star pharmacy, right? So I don't need to belabor you. You must be a caregiver, decision maker, communicator, manager, lifelong learner, a teacher, a leader, like I was school leader, a researcher, Pharmapreneurs. Who was a pharmapreneur before he died in politics? Some of you are pharmapreneurs, right? If as I go along, you will see that this FIP, Professional Excellence template, forms the fulcrum of succeeding beyond limits. So when we talk about emerging opportunities, there are a lot of them worldwide. Precision medicine and pharmacogenomics. Just like in anxiety or clinical points, you see pharmacists who are experts in pharmacogenomics. Digital health and mobile pharmacy platforms. I'm sure there are some people developed now. I was watching one in Kenya the other day where a young man sitting in his house can do a lot of research with so many pharmacies. He doesn't have, just like the way you have your junior, your Temu and the rest. He doesn't have a factory, he doesn't have a shop. But from the platform, he was a show of BBC, how do you call that program? Discipline, right? And I watched in Kenya, sitting with in his ICT hall. All you need to do is log on to his website, tell you what you need, ethically verified. They are wholesalers. In fact, this is if you talk to one wholesaler, they don't have. You talk to one wholesaler, they don't have, you don't have. And before you know, you get all these things together and somebody shifts to your shop without going anywhere also yourself. You don't need to go around and say, look, I've been to each medicine. You don't have coupon at all. I went to health ways, whatever. You don't have this or I want to tell you. But he has all of this. Currently, so all of they have in different wholesale pharmacies. So if he do not have, you do not have, he has, he gets all of them and gets to your shop. So you don't need to go around looking for drugs. Green pharmacy and sustainable practice using pharmaceutical waste in these areas. Local manufacturing, I told you, only 30% of our needs in this country is produced locally, but still not there. Public health and policy advocacy. Let me subsume and hide policies under this place. Public policy advocacy. Policies continue. Replacing decisions that shape the healthcare services delivery. And even shape the other decision nationwide. Pharmacorobotics. Pharmaceutical policy. That is my area of specialization. Pharmacoeconomics. That is another good area. Most major pharmaceutical companies are good. They implement pharmacoeconomics. And bringing up the A and B. What is the cost effectiveness or cost benefit analysis they do compared to the new products? In fact, where they are very insurance scheme actually, before your drug is listed in the insurance list, you must be able to bring pharmacoeconomic analysis to show that your drug is economically more effective. It's therapeutically more effective, economically more beneficial. You can take one drug for 3 days, another one for 7 days. They give you the same outcome. But one will cost you less, one will give you more side effects. So these are all parts of pharmacoeconomic analysis and all for quality. Quality of life, I just said. Artificial intelligence, that's the internet for pharmacy automation, pharmacy prescribers. In fact, in UK, but there are guidelines for pharmacy prescribers, there are courses to do to certify pharmacy prescribers. They are becoming widely, so we need them more, but the opportunity is widely to have pharmacy prescribers. Nothing prescribers. If I in some other part of the world, like in Liberia now, I have found that nurses will do CS. So it's down to them doctors. So nurses are taught how to do CS. And except when they do complications. The same way. They are now doing a situation where the GPs are becoming fewer. So if somebody comes to food and food, this is pharmacist. Once you are a licensed pharmacist prescriber, you continue to the needs that is yours. Pharmacy journalism. 40 years or how many years of pharma news? How many years is pharma news in Corona? About 40 years. These are areas, great impact. You can imagine you having journals that this brings to pharmacists about drugs that are fake from WHO bulletin. The one now that it's only now that I close the information now. So you can imagine you as a young pharmacist having publisher of the journal that gives us up to date information of who does at the market, what does pharmacy ABC have, what is happening internationally about drugs, which hard drugs or who drugs are being seized, and what drugs are being seized by NDMA and the rest. This is another area, right? Internet pharmacy, what I said is being abused, not properly regulated in Nigeria, and I hope we need to have good regulations about internet pharmacy. Diaspora practice. My guy told you about practicing in UK. That's kind of thing I'm telling you. You can have a license to practice in UK. You can come to Nigeria and do your own. I have a friend, when Nigeria becomes board, he goes to the experience license to practice. You practice the base of dollars and compound and invest. So that's another thing we should look at. I don't want complete Japan. I understand though, the country is bad. But you could go there, get a license to practice in UK. Get some money, come back and invest. If it's too hot, go and spend 1 or 2 days practice and get money. And come back. I have a couple of friends that have a license in the US. So now that Nigeria is a big country, they do one of things again and come back with plenty of money. Because $50 change to naira, it costs plenty. That was it. Of course, 3D printed medication. These are medications to tailor the patient's weight, size, height. These are new areas. These are new emerging opportunities for you as a pharmacist. Well, now when we talk about the provision without limits, there are things that determine the provision without limits that is very, very critical. What I see like the provision without limits or beyond limits, which is my valuable word, as a pharmacist, by our training, we have a lot of opportunities. And part of practicing within the pharmacy space, you also do well outside the pharmacy space. You can do well outside and come back and invest in pharmacy. Or can do well in pharmacy and go outside the pharmacy space. Just like my challenge is that discussion. So when you talk about profession without limits, what are those key factors? Next slide. Global relevance. The skill and knowledge are applicable across countries and cultures, aligned for international work opportunities. Pharmacists, look at in one of the earliest slides, is one of the most questionably difficult professions. You can move across countries, across borders, adapt to different situations. Continuous learning and development. The profession encourages and requires ongoing education, skill building, and adaptation to new trends and technologies. So that's why the practice is doing. And that is with the life learning 9-star points there. If you run the FIT 9-star pharmacy, you see life learning, long life learning. Diverse career paths. There are multiple specializations. You can become a pediatric pharmacist and oncology pharmacist, psychiatric pharmacist. I don't know if you have worked with psychiatric doctor before. Where? In those days, when we were doing internship at General Dermatology, part of the training, we go and start integrating the psychiatric pharmacy. If you are unlucky and the people there don't like you, too bad. And I have the first day I entered there, I was coming to the female intern of mine. And one of the psychiatric patients just noticed. So each time I say, I'm one of the people, so that one I like women. Because somebody first day with a colleague coming, so each time another person will go and give him his drugs. He said, no, he doesn't want it. It's that one that likes women. So it's another experience altogether. Scalability. The ability of individual to go from baseline to leadership position. I started as a pharmacist in 1993. Rose will become a director in 2017. Rose will become a permanent secretary in 2022. So you can go from the baseline. From pharmacist 1 in 1993. Became a director of pharmaceutical service in 2017. 2022, he by the special needs of Almighty God. Became a permanent secretary. So that is the beauty of pharmacy. Scalability. Technological integration or high demand and versatility. Skills are transferable across sectors. Go to Glo today, you can have pharmacists there. And of course, I'll come to pharmacy icon and train lasers. You go to Glo today, first 5 positions. 2, before you go to 3, I think about 2 are pharmacists. That shows our professional mobility, where you can do so many businesses. If you go to Airtel or 9 Mobile, we have a Mr. Bello. Mr. Bello. You see, there are some options in 9 Mobile. I hope you see they are not seeing this year. Technological integration, autonomy and flexibility, impact and purpose, opportunity to make meaningful contributions. By contributing to society, businesses, and individuals, just like the chairman enumerated. Innovation driven. Pharmacy is an innovation driven profession. So what you have learned from pharmacy will definitely impact on whatever you are going to do, either within or outside pharmacy. Now, what are the driving factors of pharmacists excelling in non-pharmacy job? You know that by our training, we have what we call very strong analytical skill, right? Pharmacists do this. I remember when I was appointed as permanent secretary in charge of research and information. That's the value in the action. I told you this is about 5 departments, 7 departments. And the first thing that, first 1 month of my appointment, we have to do the inauguration and induction of newly elected senators and honorable members. And of course, I was the chairman of the committee of media and publicity as permanent secretary research and information. Nobody was working. Pharmacists that have been pharmacy dispensing drugs, on and on. All of you know that I have been trusted with this big and mighty requirements. But with all modesty, I'm grateful to Almighty. He said that is fine. That committee I headed, media and publicity, was rated best committee. And I think that comes because of the work we communicate with farmers, right? With elderly patients, people with children that cannot speak, right? So communication skills is part of it. I also want to say, how can the pharmacist be in charge of information in the National Assembly? I said, do you remember that there's a daughter who was information? Who was the Minister of Information? Do you know that? Yes. After that, she gave Minister of Information. And she did very well. I told her, I will do very well. And I have been doing very well. Of course, I in-depth knowledge of the healthcare system, which is very complex. I told you pharmacy is one of the most regulated professions. That makes you to adapt. Right? And I know the pharmacy helps you. Easy, I give you an example. You know in pharmacy, if there's a prescription that comes to you in the hospital, even you don't have the drugs. The dosage was correct, right? You don't say, look, I don't have the drugs. You have asked the patient to go and take amoxicillin, 500 milligram daily. Just carry a position on that you. Even if you don't have the drugs, you must correct that the amoxicillin must be taken 500 milligram 8 hours, right? So, and that knowledge, so some of my staff were trying to go to see me because when the memo comes to me, I'll go outside. I must dot the I's and T's because that is the knowledge I'm getting from attending to prescriptions, right? Then record people. The pharmacy will keep record in National Assembly. I know keep at not for 10 years, or the standard practice is 5 years, right? Ask me where it goes. Every document I sign, there's a print copy. Where did I get that knowledge from pharmacy prescription? There was this very funny case of one young man. I gave an approval of 490 or something. And the case was swelling is 390. Because it was used to the whole system where they don't keep the records. I lied to say, make all this, tell all this things. I said, okay, fine. Go and give me the freezer of the fine. I was surprised. 490. So how can you say it's 390? When you don't say because they don't keep records, approval has gone, the file has gone to too many places. Except you want to go to class office, you go and place. I didn't even go to class office. Because I have this of keeping records. So I keep records. But every document signed by me, there's a good copy of it in my records. That is what I've done for pharmacist. I've talked about communication. Your training is your boss. You do pharmacy management, you do stock taking, so that you can fit into any job. As long as you have acquired yourself with some management skills. Project management, understanding of regulatory authorities. Of course, your work today, if you are signing for poison, these are regulatory work. The same way, if you enter into management position, you should know what procurement tools is. In fact, in pharmacy, you do procurement. I mean, as a young pharmacist, I was only one of them, I do the entry, I do the issuance, I balance the record. Because that was because they are started to do it, unlike now where they have more than 10, up to 10, 20 now. Your interaction with the patient improves your human relations, which is important in everything. Of course, business and entrepreneurial mindset. There's a thing happening with pharmacy. Pharmacists are very good businessmen. If you are not good businessman, you cannot run your pharmacy. So all these things are said. All these things are said tends to make you a better pharmacist. These are the driving factors that can make you do a non-pharmacy job outside the pharmacy. That's pharmacy to be honest. I'm the keynote speaker, so you can't reach me. The keynote speaker is you are the keynote speaker. The keynote is the main. When you have the conference, the keynote is the main thing.
Yeah, correct, sir.
Yes, sir.
So 5 keynotes will set the pace.
5
I'll try to
minutes.
be fast.
Thank you, sir.
So as I said, pharmacy is a dynamic profession, and these practitioners are faced with new and expanding rules through the many fast-growing opportunities. Pharmacy without limit, therefore, is a profession no longer defined by location but by the impact you make. Pharmacy by their robust training program. Is one of the most occupationally mobile professions, just like I said earlier. In Nigeria, so many pharmacy icons over the years set the pace and standards for the present level of professional development. And also have got pharmacy trailblazers who have distinguished themselves within and outside the pharmacy space, thus reinforcing the doctrine of pharmacy without limits. So there are so many icons, but just at the time will not permit. Let me just go through briefly. Yes, just last month we celebrated 90 years of Umoru, which are part of the Umoru. So it is one of the first things that most of the pharmacy schools were established by Yoppex. From Umoru to Tuka to Lagos. But also it is the first indigenous one that came to establish the faculty of pharmacy of Pharmacist University. And it goes to become the first DG of NAPA. I've heard about it before. We celebrated 90 years last month. Of course, so I didn't have some pussy. Uncle to be great seller. He was the first pharmacist to be awarded FPSF posthumously. He was the former president of the Society of Nigeria. Of course, we have our own hand for. I'm sure they have done pharmacy ethics or pharmacy history. There's no information to go for you. This is the first officer that was called the Pharmacist Board of Nigeria. We will have the Pharmacist Board until 1992-93. When it was changed to Pharmacist Council of Nigeria. Then we have the trailblazers. There are many of them, I just want to highlight some. My chairman here, with due respect, is one of the trailblazers. Have you ever been pharmacy before?
Yes, sir.
What I'm saying this is to encourage you that you move beyond your limits. The pharmacists have done, people have done it before, you can do it. You have better opportunity of doing it. Julie was the first pharmacist to become Minister of Health. And Julie was what we call the Julie Pharmacy, the first Nigerian company to be quoted of the Nigerian stock exchange. The first institutional company. Those who are that used to Lagos, you have seen Julie Pharmacy, right? Julie Pharmacy is the first institutional company to be quoted of the Nigerian stock exchange. So don't look at the pharmacy. And it was the first pharmacy to make this up. Of course, we had our own Dora, first female DG of NAFDAC, former Minister of Information. You can be less Dora. Of course, Lady Ufote Kaiti, first female president of PSS and former member of the Senate. Just like the chairman said, when she was in the Senate, I was one of the secretary to the government, we had a lot of things doing for us. Speak to her, she speaks to the husband. So that's why we need to be secretary. The other one secretary to government of federation when she was in the Senate. Of course, the first time we saw introduction to computer in pharmacy in 1985 at the lecture was by pharmacologist before I migrated to Canada. Today, pharmacologist is the head of intelligent pharmaceuticals. It is where I'm as a pharmacist. And is the first Nigerian and African to establish a world-class pharmaceutical company, publicly quoted on the international stock exchange. Came back to Nigeria, somebody plays to Africa. That pharmacy policy again, he came to contest for the president candidate of one candidate. But I know I still to test the waters. Because the president candidate, we know I won, but the made a impact and went back. Of course, my boss, why have I highlighted it? Dr. Alpha is one of the few pharmacists that I love. In the public service, he rose to become director of pharmaceutical services. He now went to the academics. Rose to become, after retiring as director of pharmaceutical services, he went to academics, became a professor of pharmacy. In fact, he's the president of Pharmacy in Kenya. What am I driving at? After a successful career in the public service, he has going to have another successful career in the academia. That shows pharmacists with that limits. Normally, when you retire from public service, you are retired or you community pharmacy. Well, no, you went to academia and want to become a professor, do double class. Director of pharmacy service in public service. That's the highest rank you. The highest rank you can rise as a pharmacist, professional wise, get level 70 director. You become a permanent secretary. Jara. Yeah, so you see the thing of service. When you have pharmacist, what's called pharmacist 1 or pharmacist is grade level 10, right? Yeah. You're going to rise, until you go to level 70. Normally it takes about 25 to 27 years. When you go level 70, that is a peak. When you reach there, that is the but if you are lucky, God is person out of my fear of course, you now become the next step, which is Jara, which is political, which is privilege. So, but he rose to the highest as director and became professor at the university. That's something people should learn. It's not all of us who try and now in community pharmacy. I try to front at that anyway. Why? Because at 60, what it means is that somebody who has started this community pharmacy, maybe end of now has a shop now. What it means is that by the time you are 60, you go and pick a government job as a pharmacy. That's what it's like. Because if you die as a director, and you think the only thing you can do is to open a pharmacy in Marama, on your hand. At 60, I'm not saying it's not pharmacy, but you're going to reach a point where we have confidence in them. Gather a group of young people, finance them, open the premises, enter an agreement. Come as chairman board of the pharmacy. But I don't say 60-year-old man, when you are 60, right? Although we renew the bill of 65 now. And you start beginning to go and join Chiloso and go and teach them. Or a 60-year-old medical doctor, then want to start hospital and start planting patients today, newly. So that's the goal, that's the time to have a self-professional. And that has to get out. There's so many things like not because the idea is that once you retire as a doctor, you go and open your own hospital at 60. Or you realize pharmacy at 60, you go and open your own shop. It doesn't go that way. Of course, Miriam, how many of you are at the MD of GTB is a pharmacist? Can teach us that? How many of you have account to GTB? GTB is one of our leading pharmacists. Miriam is a pharmacist. She's a graduate of the University of Umoru. That shows the dynamic nature of our profession. But you must empower yourself. Know what you want. Tailor your academic options. I know somewhere I want to get out of pharmacy. I personally want to do a master's in pharmaceutical technology, pharmaceuticals. But I told the government that's all right, you can continue pharmacy technology. For me, I have a focus on administration. In as much as I do pharmacy, of course, my PhD is on pharmaceutical policy. But then, that's what you do to administration. She has an MPA. Patrick Yamabo was a year my junior PPU. He just been promoted as second director of First Bank. He's 91 graduates. This will be chief finance officer. That shows how dynamic our profession is. That also. Just like the other people say that pharmacists are not research. Even in the bank, in fact, they used to be lazy. I tried to get her, but I don't know where she is. She was before Adele became director of the Zenith Bank. She was the former executive director of first executive director of Zenith Bank. She has a first class in pharmacy from the firm. The degree for that's her name. Of course, the secretary to the state government, Mr. Adeoshi, is a pharmacist. She wrote the chairman of Asset Bank, not the vice chairman of Asset Bank. So pharmacists is capability. Actually, this room, our operation is mobile. Of course, my mom will say. Well, quality is important. There are over, if you are over 30 or 40, almost 40 federal medical centers, about 7 or 8 major parastatals in federal medical. Unfortunately, are headed by pharmacists. Who says the pharmacist cannot become the secretary of primary medical agency? Who says the pharmacist cannot become the GP of NCDC? But what you need is the political clout. You must be in the right place at the right time. You must empower yourself intellectually and tailor to what you want. You can target something and start working towards it now. So one of you can ask you tomorrow, I want to be the teacher of NAFDAC in the next 20 years. You can find yourself. Yes. As the Christian that say you claim it, right? Say it and claim it. So as I said, there are of the so many personas that this world, only 3 are headed by pharmacists. Of course, the DG of NAFDAC, the DG of NIPID, who happen to be my staff, and friends. Of course, the DG of all along, this is the first time pharmacy said this. Who else will help natural medicine? Pharmacist. That's right. This is the first time pharmacy said it. And most pharmacies don't even take this until Martin have Nigerian natural medicine. So, as I end my lecture, Confucius said, study the past to define the future. I just wanted to take you through a kaleidoscope of what happened in the past. That's how pharmacy in ancient China, ancient Egypt. Of course, Alexander Fleming. I had the opportunity of going for the Alexander Fleming work in Oxford University, where it's a lab that discovered penicillin up to where it is work. So I had the opportunity at the program in Oxford to go to the lab, work the part he work. It's not because the Fleming work. Of course, this is how a pharmacy medicine store looks like in 1947 somewhere in Lagos. That's the Jubilee Pharmacy in 1986, when it became the first publicly quoted. Of course, this is how a modern pharmacy looks like today. I'm sure most of you know this in the So now let me ask you, let me now put this poster before you while I conclude. So I ask you, my great members of YPG, will the discovery of a new antibiotic come from you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Will you create the next health tech hub and platform?
Yes, sir.
I told you about the one I read about in Kenya. How many of you are going to join the global research community? It's not all about money. It pays. I have a young pharmacist who did another clinical research. Today is the vice president of the major corporate university. If I tell you his name, you run. Will you build the next pharmaceutical company that Nigeria is waiting for? That has automatic WHO certification. As we discuss pharmacy without limits, YPG, you are the future permanent secretaries. You are the future DGs of government agencies and parastatals. You are the future commissioners. You are the future MDs of banks and international business conglomerates. In conclusion, therefore, this is a defining moment in the history of our profession. Pharmacy is expanding, and the world is waiting. No limits, only possibilities. Nigeria needs you, Africa needs you, the world is waiting for you. Thank you for listening.